guys, my name is Jennifer and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to try like the most outside of my comfort zone thing ever. I'm going to try to do a Halloween Pennywise makeup look. This is a lot of face paint. I'm uncomfortable working with this amount of face paint. I am uncomfortable with clowns in general. I feel like it has a lot of shading and that is not my forte. So this is, yes, very out of my comfort zone. So instead of like trying to come up with something myself, I found a tutorial by this YouTuber called Madeyewlook. She has like over 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube. I'm sure a ton of followers on Instagram, but she did a really, really sweet Pennywise makeup tutorial with face paint. So I'm more or less going to be following that and just hoping for the best. So this is also going to be pretty complicated, so I'm going to voice over the whole thing instead of trying to talk and do this at the same time, because I just will not be able to do that. Okay, so let's get started. This is a white eyeliner crayon. This is the Morphe color pencil in coconut. Just take any white eyeliner you have to do this. I'm going to outline my mouth so that I don't fill this part in with the white. When Madeyewlook did hers, she painted like her whole face white and then erased the mouth part, but I'm gonna hope to skip that. So for the face paint, I am using the Mehron Paradise AQ palette. I splurged on the palette this year because I really wanted to challenge myself with some Halloween looks. And so I'm going in with the white that is in here. The formula is amazing. So it's a water activated face paint. All you need to do is like literally drop a couple drops of water into this palette and the paint will just like work for you. The nice thing about it is because it is water activated, I didn't have to use any like makeup wipes to get this off. I literally stepped in the shower afterwards and it just like all rinsed off. So pros and cons, right? Like if you want a Halloween look that's going to last all day and night, like if you're going to wear it to work that day, I would probably recommend not this because like it will probably wipe off pretty easily. So I tried to avoid my eyebrows. That didn't work out. So I colored them in as well and then went down my neck. And I'm just starting to color in like these squiggles I need for that like collar ruffle thing that Pennywise has. I was honestly going to like look for white coffee filters and glue them onto my neck to avoid doing this, but I didn't have any in the house and I was too lazy to go out to get some. So here we go. White face paint is quite streaky, so I'm using a sponge here to just try to touch up like the really streaky parts. I don't feel like you can see it very well on camera, but in real life it was like really bugging me and I honestly spent so long trying to get it to not be streaky. So for eyeshadow today, like all my eyeshadow will be out of this Morphe James Charles palette. I'm using the white in there to just set the white on my face. It is not the best white, but it works. So I'm taking a dark brown out of that palette and just coloring and shading in where like the ruffles like curve up, I guess, and create a natural shadow. So also taking a dark brown eye pencil, this one's from Ulta, and drawing in a top layer of ruffles so then I can have more than one layer. Taking that brown eyeshadow again and just going into where the shadows would be for where the ruffles kind of curve up. And I followed her tutorial pretty closely here just because, like I said, shadowing is not my forte. And yeah, in hindsight, I was really struggling. Like now that I'm looking at it, I feel like I did an okay job. When I was doing it, I was like not happy with it. So also taking that same brown, different brush, kind of coloring in where the ruffles dip and trying to get this to look a little bit 3D. So kind of struggled a little bit, but I think it was okay. And then I'm just taking a thinner brush and kind of drawing a line to show kind of where that collar begins around my neck. So next we're going to move on to eyebrows. If I had a glue stick, I probably would have like glued them down, really covered them and did like really thin eyebrows like she did. But I kind of just went off on my own and I'm doing like a furrowed eyebrow look instead. And the black is really easy to work with, a little bit of water, and it just goes on very smoothly. It's not streaky at all. And I spent a lot of time trying to make this even. Symmetry is really hard. So what's nice about this face paint is you can just take a little bit of water on a cotton swab and wipe off any mistakes. So kind of throughout this whole look, I just take cotton swabs and I wipe off mistakes. I go in with a little bit of that white face paint on my finger and I dab it back on to kind of like fix it a little bit. So taking a pointy brush, by the way, most of these brushes are not like actual like face or eyeshadow brushes or anything like that. This is literal like face or what am I looking for? Literal brushes that I got from Michael's for like actual paint. And so I'm painting on the outermost layer of my teeth And I'm trying to make them like kind of all different sizes on the top and the bottom, just making sure that like they're all at least like pointy, which is kind of hard to do with face paint, but we made it work. So varying sizes, the ones in the front and the fangs kind of like the biggest, and then trying to get them to be a little bit smaller here towards the outer edges of my mouth. So we're going to go in later too and add another layer of teeth, but we want this first layer to be real creepy. So what I am doing here is I'm going with a tiny brush. I mixed a little bit of like a mustard yellow in with the white, just so I will be able to tell which teeth are the first layer, which teeth are the second layer. These teeth here that I'm doing are not quite as big because they're like from a depth perception wise, like farther away from the camera. So kind of like a behind layer. This is probably where I start like regretting that I attempted this look at all, because I was like not liking how this looked, but it ended up turning out okay. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just doing that, filling in the rest of my teeth all the way to the edges. So I'm going to wait for that to dry, and while I do that, I'm going to do my eyeshadow. So I'm taking a combination of like a really dark purple, like a black, and the dark brown, and just going around my eyes with that, kind of just rough, and also taking the red and layering it right on top to kind of give it that like almost like a bloody sunken eye look. And then taking that dark brown eyeshadow, I'm adding in where like your face would wrinkle, like if you made furrowed eyebrows like this. Like I said, shading, not my forte. It's better than nothing, but wasn't super happy with this part. So then I find like the tiniest paintbrush I could find, and I'm taking that black and I'm just starting to very, very, very carefully outline my teeth. And I'm just trying to separate like my two layers of teeth here and just going around. That way later I can take a larger brush and fill in all the other spots. So for the top teeth, I am kind of making a more like a gummy smile where like it's like curvy on the top of your teeth. That helps give the illusion that it's like protruding out of your face, I think. This is how she did it, so this is how I'm gonna do it. Yes. Outlining the bottom of my teeth. This just required so much patience. It was insane, but you definitely need to invest in a very, very tiny brush to do this, because the face paint is quite runny, and so it can get into places you don't want it to very quickly. So I'm just going to outline my mouth here as well. On the bottom, I'm not doing the whole like bumpy teeth thing. I'm just going in with like a smooth smile line and finish outlining my teeth like this. Next, I'm going to wait for that to dry and go into my eyes again. I'm just taking a black eyebrow or eyeliner pencil from LA Girl and giving myself a bit of just like a black outline with a little bit of a wing, not being super neat here. Pennywise probably did not care that much about his makeup, so just kind of being rough here. And I felt like I had too much eyeshadow on like under my eyes, so I'm just taking a cotton swab, wiping that off, and then going in with that white face paint and patching it up again. I did a lot of this. So then I moved onto my nose. In hindsight, I didn't end up shading this, but it is what it is. So there is a really nice dark red shade in this palette, in the Mayron palette, and I just am going to go ahead and paint myself a good old clown nose. And I'm just kind of swiping this up into my nose to kind of give it that like a little bit of a blended look. So then I'm taking the black face paint on a larger brush. This is the same one that I actually used for my eyebrows. And I'm just going to go ahead and go in to my mouth and fill in the whole, like the void. Because this is a water activated face paint, you have to be very careful around your mouth, just because your saliva will cause it to like not dry, and it will cause you to probably like ingest some of it. So you definitely don't want to lick your lips. You want to be very careful here with this stuff. And what I basically did was I did the top of my lips, but I didn't really fill in the bottom. I was just do that later just so I can finish the rest of my look without eating any of this face paint. So please be careful. Use this at your own risk. Do not come after me for this. I'm taking a red out of that Mayron palette, and I'm just going to color in my lips here. And I'm really only going to have like a quote-unquote lip visible on the bottom here, and I'm just going to very lightly outline the other portions of my mouth. And I'm taking that very, very tiny black face paint like brush thing I was using, and I'm going to give it just a little swipe on the bottom of my lip to give it a little bit of a shadow. attempting to make this a little more like 3D. So on the top, I am just tracing around where I put like the little lumpy teeth with that same red, and I'm not giving myself like huge lips up here because there's like not a lot of room between my nose and this. So taking that black face paint, I'm attempting to shade in some of like the wrinkly areas around my smile and like where my like cheeks would be. I tried to follow her tutorial, but I don't know. I don't love the way that this turned out, but it is what it is, you guys. Shading freaks me out. So I'm taking a little bit of that like mustardy color with some yellow and kind of painting over the teeth that are really white still. Pennywise did not have very good oral hygiene, so this kind of shading helps make it look kind of real and disgusting. So also taking a little bit of that black, wiping off most of the face paint, and just going in very, very slightly with this. This will also help add dimension and sort of add towards that like kind of dirty, messy clown look. So then I'm going in and adding those red lines that go from like the smile up to above the eyebrows. You want to bring this out pretty far to the sides of your cheeks because if you were creepily smiling like this, that's how they would run around your face. So I am basically spending way too much time trying to make this even on both sides. This is when I start realizing that my eyebrows were like really uneven, but I made it work and just spent a lot of time with a cotton swab, wiping it off with some water, painting white back on. Symmetry is difficult. So kind of the last thing I'm doing now is some contouring for my clown look. Kind of crazy to say, but I took a combination of like different reds and browns and blacks in that palette, and I'm just kind of contouring the tops where my forehead is, and then also a little bit on my cheeks too. Kind of coloring in my hairline with a little bit of black just to cover some of that flesh color. But yeah, just bringing some of that like red, black everywhere just to give it more of that like dimensional, like dirty look. Lastly, what would a clown look be without some contacts? I just had some laying around, so I don't remember the name of this, but I'm going to list it down below. I just popped these in quick, and that finishes my look. So in post-editing, I also added like a really creepy filter. As you can see right here, it makes it look definitely more scary and kind of just like creeps myself out looking at this. So yeah. Okay, so that is it for my tutorial. This is most definitely the hardest thing I have ever done. It has taken me 3 hours to do this look, and I thought the teeth was going to be the part that I struggled with the most, and it was crazy because it wasn't. I thought the teeth actually turned out alright. It was just like getting the white to lay flat, and then getting like the shading. I'm just so bad at shading, you guys, with like the cheekbones and stuff. Okay, I do kind of like this though. You know, you win some, you lose some. Am I ever going to do this again? Definitely not this year. Maybe next year after my skills get a little bit better. But I enjoyed making this for you guys. I am creeping myself out, so I'm going to go wash this off. I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. I don't know. I did my best, you guys. I tried. Thank you guys so much for watching our Halloween series. I don't think any of the looks I do this year will be as intricate as this. This was insane. But yeah. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye!